Annika Vinst is chief economist in Nordea, which is one of the biggest banks in the Nordic countries. And Annika, how do you think that the current economic situation in the Nordics influence the prospects of financing property projects?
All the Nordic countries are small open economies, and of course they will be hurt if we have a global downturn, and especially as we believe in recession in Europe, which is a very important export market for all those countries, and that will have a negative effect on the export numbers but also on the growth numbers. And we can already now see that the indicators are pointing down. But on the other hand, it's also important to remember that all those countries are well prepared and in rather good shape to handle a tough situation. All of them are, for example, have solid public finances, and if you look at, for example, public debt compared to GDP or public deficit compared to GDP, it looks rather okay for all those countries. Denmark is the weakest link here.
So when some in the property market say that the Nordics are a safe haven, it's actually right in some ways?
Yeah, it depends on who you compare with, but of course there are small economies, and we will have a downturn in Sweden and Denmark and Finland as well, and Norway. But they are prepared, and we believe they can handle it rather okay.
And if you see a little further ahead, how will financing be influenced in the coming year? How easy will it be to obtain financing for property projects and investments?
I think it will be much more tough than we have seen the latest years. And of course, the credit market is one thing that financial markets focus very much on. And one reason of that is, of course, that we have a lot of countries who need huge of money. They need to borrow a lot of money. And we also have new rules coming up in the banking system. So the banks also need to have much more capital. And that means that I believe that we will have a rather squeezed credit market, and that will hurt both the corporate sector but also the household sector, and the price on capital will also be more expensive.
In some countries like Denmark, for instance, it has been very tough also the last year, and still you say it will be even tougher in the coming year?
I think there is a risk, and I'm a bit worried about the banking system, especially in Europe, and that's one reason why we believe in a weaker growth in a lot of countries, not just Europe, in the US as well, because the banks need to keep more capital. We have new rules coming in, and they need to handle that situation, and that will have impact on the market.
So what kind of capital would you do you advise your customers to look at?
I think it's important to be well prepared. As a country, you need to be well prepared to handle a bumpy journey, but you need to do that as a corporate sector as well, and household sector, and also in the real estate market. You need to be careful and to look after money and have a safe journey.
Will Nordea be lending money in the coming years to property projects, you think?
Of course Nordea will be there, and I think the other banks will be there also, but they will be more careful.
Thank you.